I don't think they have a problem with fascism.
Don't
And
call
then
it
I get
fascism. Before you're running through the points, do you do it in a way that they don't know what they're judging, or
absolutely 100%. I say, and they'll actually, I'll say, okay, hey, do you agree with this? And they'll disagree with like 9 of the 12 points that I throw out. And I'll be like, okay, like, you realize, do you know who I'm talking about? And they'll be like, Donald Trump, right? And I'll be like, no, Schmittler. But at the same time, let me run you through another list of the exact same list. And then that's when I'll start throwing in all the Donald Trump stuff. And they're like, oh, crazy. But it doesn't, that's where you hit the wall.
Yeah.
Because they
Right.
don't have a problem with fascism.
Correct.
No,
And
they
that's
do.
where I'm like,
They just
I don't know what to do.
redefine what they believe fascism is so that it can fit in their framework.
Yeah, and I guess what you're saying,
that's a
makes
mistake.
the most sense. Like, who does it benefit? Does it
Who's the
benefit
benefit?
you, or does it benefit, like
Does it
literally
benefit not only
the
just
elite?
you though, like not just you, but like us as a people? Does it benefit the people of this country as a whole, or does it benefit the people with the people with the most money and the most power and the most everything above? Right, like that's the difference.
And I do want to bring somebody else up, Russ, but I want you to think about this too. So
Yeah,
again,
no, that's
part
fine.
Of
That's
the,
fine.
Part of the whole the lies and when they become the truth. So if we think about it at its core, the right has said that Antifa is the enemy of the state, when Antifa isn't anything other than the fact that people who are opposed to, that are anti-fascist. So the reason that they get so triggered is because they've been told, again, through the lie, right? Through the lie, that Antifa is bad. So I would say, throw it right back in their face. Remind them of D-Day. Remind them of June 6, 1944. Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy to fight against fascism. They were Antifa.
Right.
And then watch their heads explode.
Okay.
Thanks for being here tonight, Rusty. Appreciate
Hey, thanks for having me up. I appreciate you guys.
You got it.
Great
See you
question.
later. All right.
Good for him for having conversations, though.
We are adding, by the way, a pink pussy hat from the Women's March. That'll be on our list for our fundraiser, along with Erica's audio recording, TBD.
Erica said she'd add. It's in the Discord. She said she'd add a piece of merch too. Oh, she'd add a. She's not condescending. She's just British tea.
Well, let's be careful. We don't want to. Let's not offer anything yet until we can make sure we can do that. It's just we have some limitations. So, but we know that that's available. Thank you, Erica, for an additional offer. But again, we're adding an audio recording from Erica at this point, and also a pink pussy hat from the Women's March. And then here's the process. These are the items. Silent auction. If you'd like anything on the list, you can bid on it. Minimum bid starts at $20. All monies will go to these particular Venmo and or PayPal. Cash App. This is for a member of our family who does so much for us, and this is what we do around here. They need our help to help with some massive vet bills. We all know what that's like. So thank you all in advance. We'll remind people again a little bit later. Wait, gotta do this. Hold on. Where is it?
We brought up maple syrup. You should have give some maple syrup.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. My bad. We can if we need to. I know a guy.
Take the place of one of the Facts March things.
I know a guy.
You know the guy.
I know a guy. I'm going to bring up Obi. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. We appreciate you guys. There's a gifting goal. I just reset it. Please consider subscribing to our channel. And please, 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 who's going to be number 600? We're $5.99.
Oh my gosh. There.
Who's going to do it?
Get it.
Change right now.
You can do it.
Cost you 1 coin. Obi, brother. Looks like you might have timed out, my boss. Sorry about that. You can request and come on back if you want to. Okay, Andrew. Good evening, Andrew. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great, Steve. I am definitely voting Kamala. I won't spend too much time here, but I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of you and Amy Dawn and the whole FSM family.
Thank you.
You guys are really doing God's work out here. I can't do what you do, but God, I wish I could do it. I wish I could say things the way you say it. I wish I could bring things up. Like, you're just chef's kiss, man. I'm a huge fan. I love the background. I think this is brilliant. You know what I mean? Like,
that's our guy.
I watch you as much as I can. What was that?
I said,
Yeah.
that's our guy, Gregory. He does all of our backgrounds for Facts
Gregory's
Still Matter.
awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I love Obi-Wan. I love the
legend.
whole thing.
We love
I did
him.
have one quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I've talked to a few different people, and I know you've talked to thousands at this point, and I feel like a lot of times the conversation just evolves into nothingness, right?
Sometimes.
You can peel apart the feelings with a lot of facts, but I don't have the luck that you have maybe of turning on the light bulb. And I guess I'm curious, like, what would you say is like the best strategy? I know you just went through a lot of great strategies, but like, and those are all terrific pieces of advice. We're like bringing up the tenants and all of that. But I guess part of me is just curious. Like, I wish there was a silver bullet, right? I wish there was something that you could say to people and have them go, "Oh shit, you're right." You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy talk.
It's going to
To
be
the
different.
topic, I mean, I think it's a fair point, but I mean, I try to make it personal when I can. Like I try to, I mean, so for example, if somebody is a Trump voter, right? There has to be a willingness. There's got to be a willingness from people who do want to be at least be willing to have a conversation. We've had a lot of luck in the past couple of weeks with people that have changed their opinions. They may not have gone full on support for Kamala Harris, but they've just decided that Trump's enough. So I tend to try to make it personal. I'm like, so you still support Trump? Yes, I do. Anything to change your mind? Would you do anything for your kid? Oh, yes, I would. Do you have a daughter? Yes, I do. Would you give your daughter your kidney? Yes, I would. Would you give your daughter your heart? Yes, I would. Would you give your daughter every drop of blood in your body? Yes, I would. Then give her your vote.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
That moment isn't going to like turn a light switch on because it's not a light switch process.
Correct.
So that's the difficult part is like we want that result right there in that conversation.
I know that
You
we want
have-
that dopamine hit, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think ultimately though too, what I've done, and I think it's a lot of what you do too, is I'm not necessarily trying to sway the person I'm talking to. I'm trying to sway people that are reading my messages or that are seeing me speak about it and like are maybe not engaging in the conversation, but are on the fence and aren't really willing to have that debate. But when you start to show facts to someone who is unwilling to see them, that can right there be a light bulb moment for people you're not seeing the light bulb go on for, right? Like that can be a light bulb moment for the 400 people listening. You know what I mean? Like that can be the light bulb moment for someone you're not even interacting with. And I think that's something I try to keep in mind a lot in my interactions is that I'm not necessarily talking to the person to get them to change their mind. I'm using the logic and the facts and the you know, the truth, I guess, to try to get to people that aren't engaging. And that I think is more meaningful than people may realize.
It is. It's absolutely critical because if we're going to change the narrative, we have to keep talking. We
Yes.
have to keep talking because the only thing that gets us out of this mess is getting the story back to the truth that is actually fact-based.
I can give you a real-time example. So this whole it's funny. I was out ahead of it for a change. There was this controversy going around regarding this document, a Department of Defense directive, DOD 5240.
Yep.
All right. So I did a video about it. Basically, what ended up getting lost in the noise is this is something that's existed since 2007. It's been rewritten a couple of times. All it does is it gives instructions for the Department of Defense how to respond at the request of other civil authorities for something significant happening in our country. That's all it is. It's something we've had forever. The right has turned it into something that the Biden-Harris administration is now authorizing lethal force against U.S. citizens. So, of course, again, when you follow the lies. So I went back and forth with somebody in my comment section today. I said, listen, I am just asking you to read this thing. Don't click the headline. The person responded and said, I stand corrected. I didn't realize that it was just literally what you said it was. Thank you.
Awesome.
And that's a person, if you look at their video, there was obviously opposition to me if I look at their channel, but that person was willing to take the time to just read it. So
All it takes is a little crack.
That's it. That's all it takes sometimes. So I'm not sure if that's going to change his or her vote, but it's just one of those moments that just like, okay, maybe, and then hopefully people who are, again, willing will say, maybe there's been other things that I've been susceptible to. Maybe there's other lies that I've allowed myself to believe. Maybe there are other stories or other rabbit holes that I ran down because of something. Critical thinking is required, and it's not easy to learn. But if you're willing,
And it's
to
not
take
taught.
a few
You know, our
minutes-
education system is so bad. Yeah, I mean, there's so many people out there that just go off of emotion because as humans, we're kind of trained to do that, right? Like that's how our bodies and our brains have evolved, is to kind of
We are
see the
emotional
initial
beings.
thing and react. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. I mean, that's part of it, and it's a push. I mean, I appreciate what you said, Andrew, but I mean, this is No, it's not my first rodeo. I mean, I'm comfortable in this space because I've been
Yeah,
communicating. I mean, I've been a communicator for my entire adult life, and
I can tell.
I'm
Yeah,
nothing special, but I'm just somebody who really cares about misinformation. I mean, it's so dangerous. We're going to have a show after the election because this stuff is not going away.
it is
We're going
not.
to
You're
have to
correct. This isn't going
continue
to
to
be solved when we vote in Kamala. It's going to take years, if not decades,
exactly,
to get this
exactly
gone. Yeah, and the fight doesn't end on November 5th. That could be when
correct.
the fight
Because
really truly begins, right?
you're
And
right.
that's why
Because
I think that
marginal communities will still be under attack. Women's rights,
yes,
women will still be under attack. There will still be hatred towards the BIPOC community. There will still be, a hatred towards LGBTQIA and every other marginalized group out there. And a lot of it will come from misinformation. I mean, think about the whole attack on the transgender community specifically, right? I mean, what is it? Less than 1% of our entire population, and yet they have been accused of all these horrible things against kids. Meanwhile,
yeah,
we know where it's happening. So so if people feel like November 5th is the finish line, the work starts
no,
then. The work
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
then.
just keep having the
yeah.
conversations, Andrew, because literally it's the conversations that are going to change things because nothing else is going to matter. We have to keep talking because people get in echo chambers. The pandemic did this to us. We got super isolated and super alone as a
Yep.
species, and we just are a
Well, and we
much
got super scared, right? Everybody got in their
Yes.
feels because it was a very scary time for a lot of people because it was the unknown. It was a novel virus. There were
People
obviously a lot of extra deaths, you know?
Sure. There was a whole. I personally believe, as someone who studies human behavior and mental health, I am looking going to be looking back on this time and like the effects that the pandemic had on our mental health overall. Like I think it'd be
Yeah.
an amazing longitudinal study at some point because it is so deep. So I just you have to keep having the conversations because people get isolated. They get one message, and then because they believe it from the people in the echo chamber they're in, their rightness gets confirmed. Right?
Yes.
The
Yep.
only way that they hear differences is if they hear it. And so it's the conversations alone that have the opportunity for us to change, right?
That's
Change.
right.
100% agree. Thanks so much for having me up. You guys
Thanks,
have a
Andrew.
great rest of your night. I'll be watching in the comments, but
Have
again,
those
keep it up. I appreciate you.
conversations, guys.
Appreciate you. Thanks a lot. See you later. Everybody, please keep liking and sharing. We appreciate you guys very much. Timbo, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm well. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I am 48. I was raised very fundamentalist and right, Republican. I am happy that I found you. I really appreciate how factual, how calm, how precise you present this information. But
Appreciate it.
I grew up that way, I say, and I have, in the past 8-9 years, changed my perspective and my beliefs, and I am proud to have been able to early vote in my state this past week and go, Madam President.
That's awesome.
I guess I wanted to encourage you to keep going and just ask you if you have and encourage others to watch 3 documentaries that I've seen that have helped me along my journey, and they are The Family on Netflix,
Seen it.
From Russia with Lev on Rachel Maddow on NBC, and Bad Face I just watched on Amazon today.
Yes, thank you. We've been on that for a minute. I love that you watched that.
There's
Yeah,
a couple
just-
others that we'll add to, like a Storm
God
Foretold.
and
You should watch
Country,
that.
if you God and Country is very good on Peacock, or well, I think it's on a lot of services actually. But God and Country, check that one out. It's very similar to Bad Faith. It's kind of along the same lines.
I'm concerned. We kind of thought this was over 4 years ago, right? I'm concerned that this Christian nationalism and Donald Trump are a symbiotic parasite, if you will.
They're very closely aligned.
Yeah, because even in 4 years, Donald Trump said he's not running, but
He won't.
and I believe that, but I'm concerned about, even if Kamala wins, his replacement is just going to be a sugar-coated Donald Trump, and it's just.
I would say it would
They'll
be
find
worse.
a new host.
Yeah, I would say it would be worst, actually.
Yeah.
It'll be JD, right?
Somebody like that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just, if he loses, though, I think they might rebrand just a bit to be a little easier to swallow. Is my thought, but.
Oh no, I don't think. I think they'll double down. Why would they if they win? Like if they win, why would they? They're going
I'm
to
saying
take
if
that
they lose,
fun.
Even if they lose, I'm not so sure they will, to be honest.
Oh yeah, even if they lose, there's no way.
Might soften some of their rhetoric because, again, they're losing women. So, I mean, the margins are just growing and growing and growing and growing. But as long as there's YT men,
Well,
they can back it up.
Your point about Tommy's video earlier, like they'll just change the story, the narrative. Like the playbook stays the same. The story's just changed. The same end result. You know?
Yeah, the woe is me, the moderates, I used to be a Democrat. I voted for Obama twice, and now I just think the Democratic Party is lost. It's warmongering. It's too much spend. I mean, again, they'll try to go back to the traditional political game. Meanwhile,
step 2 in the PSYOP is create a compelling narrative. Well, you just got to create the compelling narrative and go through the steps again. I mean, it's no different.
Yeah.
So Timbo, if we think back to the burgeoning of Christian nationalism in our body politic, we can go back to Reagan, right? So we can think about that time because the evangelicals wanted to infiltrate our political system with Christian nationalism. They couldn't do that because it was too extreme. So instead, what did they go after? Abortion rights.
Yeah.
So they used Roe v. Wade. They used literally constitutional protections under privacy for women's rights to their body as a way to convince evangelicals to become part of the fold. So they used Reagan on the conservative side as the figurehead, inviting him to these sort of far right, events and conferences. Heritage Foundation liked the growth of the Heritage Foundation and those fundamentalist groups to convince their base that we're on the side of justice for the fetus. And we have this speech, I might read it again later, March for Life people, the it phenomenon. You march for it when it's in the womb, but you don't give a shit about it when it's born, right? Mm-hmm. So they use the lie, again, that it was really about abortion rights when it wasn't. It was about Christian nationalism and the takeover of our society to keep it white.
Very palatable.
Exactly,
they knew people would be like, ew, that's very ick. Like, we were trying to not be racist.
Yeah, and that's part of bad faith. That's part of that.
They knew that they could co-opt the emotions of people if they did it with little bitty babies. They could get up and make it an emotional thing. Yeah, were you aware, Timbo, that Roe v. Wade, when it happened, wasn't controversial for several years until that happened?
I just learned that today when I watched Bad Faith.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. See, knowledge is power.
That's where that came from. So, if you think about that, again, this is the evangelical, the conservative right movement in our country is based on a lie. The entire thing is based on a lie. And
so I'm curious. I'm curious what did you grow up in the evangelical circles?
No, I grew up Catholic. I'm Italian American family. I'm a recovering Catholic, but I've grown up I'm very fortunate to have grown up raised solid relationship with my dad early on, but a very strong, highly intelligent. My mom was really well ahead of her time. She would be on the front lines today. She was then, and I was just exposed to all these kinds of things, and I was like, wow. And I remember having conversations with my teachers, and they're like, "Where are you learning that stuff?" I'm like, "I'm my mother," So I just was, I was just convinced early that these are the things you got to pay attention to. I've always been on the side of human rights, and when I see these kinds of things happening, it's disturbing. And now looking back on it, man, was she fucking right about all of it?
Yeah. Amy Dawn, I missed what you said. Did you grow up fundamental, Amy Dawn?
No, I grew up Methodist.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm very much much more like Ram Dass, spiritual kind of person now. But I've kind of been through a gamut. I've a couple different experiences with partners who were Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witness, and I'm very spiritual. I respect and love all people's beliefs as long as it makes them better humans. And I'm very against the weaponizing of any belief system that would cause harm to others.
I guess I'm asking because from my experienced my growing up, I'm recognizing how, as you said, it was weaponized. I just, I want to blow the lid off it. That fundamentalists, this is what's happening right now is what we prayed for. This is exactly,
That's the draw, right? Isn't it? Yeah, that's the draw. Because, the people who did J6 were large in part white Christian nationalists, and they believed they were doing the Lord's work. Like, you really can't reason your way out of that compelling of a feeling for someone.
I don't think my parents would have like espoused J6, but when you watch these documentaries, you're going, do you realize how close your beliefs are to that? Like,
that takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage to face that in the mirror. It's hard. It's hard for all of us to think of the most deeply held thing you believe in, and somebody telling you you shouldn't believe that. Like, that's a hard thing to do for anybody, right?
And to recognize that the lie of AB is the right to life movement, right? We believe AB is murder. How many other religions don't believe that? And to recognize that, to me, has been eye-opening, going, okay, that is strictly a fundamentalist Christian nationalist.
And who benefits? To the question again, like anything they were asking you to believe in, like, who benefits if I believe that?
White men.
Yeah.
Exactly. Timbo, thanks for jumping in tonight.
Thanks,
I appreciate you, friend. You got it. Have a good night. See you later.
Timbo.
So the movies you're talking about again, The Family, From Russia with Lev, and Bad Faith. Those are just a few. We should stream another.
We should have a channel that we can post all those in, don't we? On our Discord, we've got a channel for everything. Entertainment.
We sure do.
We have an entertainment channel.
We sure do. We've got all kinds of things in there. So what we'll do, we'll post those again, and we can have that. We can have that sort of information.
Yeah, what
set up
time?
out there.
What time is Beyonce and Kamala going?
I'm going to bring up Nikki. I wanted to have her do 1 second, Obi. I want to have Nikki do some quick mod announcements, please.
Hello, everybody. Okay, so we have 403 people in here, and we only have 297 shares. So if everybody can go over to the corner and share the crap out of this, because on Fridays we usually have a smaller group, which is fine. I'm good with it. I'm not complaining, just saying. But if you guys can share it down the screen, share it with some friendlies, or if you don't want to share it and you just want to keep it intimate, just push copy link. That also counts as a copy, and it just shows engagement in the live. On top, we have 100,000 share likes right now. If you guys can just keep tapping while they're talking, it just helps right now. The little heart me that's right on the top, I think it says 24. It says 24 right now. If you guys can tap that, what it does is it costs 1 coin. It also shows in more engagement into the live. And what it does is pushes it out onto the FYP because it shows that people are actually, I guess, in here listening. I don't know. So that was what was going on. The Discord. If you want to get into the Discord, you can go through Fax's bio, and there's the link tree. In the link tree, you should be able to get into the Discord, no problem. If it expired again, we're sorry. We keep trying to fix it, but it doesn't seem to work.
It's working.
Is it? Okay, good. If you can't get in, all of us mods have that little thing next to our name. Like Gregory, just put the little things down right next to his name. You can tag any one of us mods, and we can directly send you a link to the Discord. I am going to just put one thing up on the screen because I want to show this is the newest thing that we just got added. One of the people in our Discord, because we have amazing people in our community. I have to tell you, this is going to be the pink hat that is being donated. She's making it right now. So it will be crocheted and donated for the auction. So it will be added, and I will put a brand new we'll put a brand new number on the thing. But
it's
so
the
that
special
is
events channel in our Discord, friends. Again,
yes.
the fundraiser is to help a member of our community. Let me bring up the sign real quick. We can do this quickly. The idea behind this is that we're raising money for a member of our community. And again, the pay apps are right at the bottom of the screen. All monies will go to this individual. If you'd like to bid on an item, we'll compile this. We'll update people at the end of the live every single night. And as we go through the week, the top bidder in each category will get the item in that particular category. Just imagine, if you will, it was a silent auction. That's the idea.
And I also wanted to remind you one more thing, that we're looking for mods, because in the mornings and everything, we are now streaming also on YouTube. By the way, you guys should also go subscribe on YouTube, because if we ever get taken down, whatever, we go live over there too. We stream it, and we need some mods over there. So we're going to be having some help. So I opened up the mod application channel. It is in the Discord. You guys, everybody has access to it. You do not have to be a subscriber to be a mod. We love our help, so you guys can go do that. All the instructions are in there. If you guys have any questions, you guys know where we all are, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Oh, and by the way, Steve,
Yeah.
I heard you say when she said to you, I'm not really anybody, or I'm nobody special. I'm sorry. You said I'm nobody special when they were talking to you about somebody doing good stuff in this community.
Yeah.
And you're wrong.
You didn't take her flowers. She's trying to tell
I'm
you.
just saying.
Thank you. Appreciate
So the next time I hear you say you're not special, I'm gonna make you wear a Yankee hat.
it. Well, that ain't happening.
Okay.
Go Yankees! We're playing
On
tonight. Love
that,
you guys.
dropping it before we can even say it.
I'll make you wear a Lakers hat. That's what I'll
That
do.
ain't happening either. Obi, help me out, brother.
Go Dodgers?
No.
Did you hear how I phrased it as a question?
That's
and
true.
A confused one.
Yeah, for the next week, I'm a hardcore Dodgers fan. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, of course.
How are you, my brother?
Amy Dawn, it's lovely to see you. Greetings and salutations, brother. You have hidden your chiseled jawline with a fuller beard. I'm just saying.
Yes, I don't know if you've heard. I forgot to mention this earlier. So, our friend Victoria, who's running for office in the state of Tennessee, she has thrown out a challenge to our friend, by the way, and our friend Matt, USMC Angry Vet. He refers to himself as US McAngry just because of the way his handle is spelled. So I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him McAngry from now on. So what the deal was is if she can raise $10,000 for her campaign by noon tomorrow, myself and Matt and her brother will glitter our beards.
It's the glitter challenge.
So again, it's Victoria for Tennessee. I think it's Tap Mommy. I think I don't want to code it here. Anyway, if that happens, then yes, there will be some glitter in my beard.
I'll pay to see that. Get on her Act Blue right quick.
Yeah.
I will elect to sit here in silence.
That's my kind of political funding.
What I'll do is I'll
That's
add the
my
pictures
kind
to
of
my.
political funding.
I'll add the pictures to my no F page.
Yes. I mean, if I see you with some Christmas balls hanging off your beard, then I'm really going to have a problem.
Hey now.
We just really just like that's some political, that's some creativity to get some campaign money. I am.
There you go. Tap Mommy. Thank you, Sarah. Tap Mommy #4 Tennessee.com. Tap Mommy 4 Tennessee.com. By the way, Obi, you look fantastic, my friend.
Swimmingly.
Thank you. I have now lost 24 pounds.
Dude,
Majestic fella.
there you go.
Thank you. I have a ways to go. Obi doesn't want to get added to the glitter guys.
Okay.
So listen, people in the comments, for those of you that don't know me, which would be the vast majority of you, I literally once, in support of my lesbians on motorcycles, aka dykes on bikes in San Francisco, I did ride a motorcycle in chaps with leopard print underwear and no shirt. So
I do believe there's not much you wouldn't do for a good cause.
Again,
so
is
I've
there
gone
pictures?
I've gone a
Pictures
bit
didn't happen.
past. Yeah, there is. I do have one photo. I've gone a bit past glitter. So I'm just saying.
Well, it's for a good cause. It's for democracy.
It was for a good cause, and just so you know, that's right. I did write bitch.
There you go. Nice work. Nice work.
You're welcome.
You liked it too, no doubt.
I did like bitch. That's beautiful.
Liked it.
Not
second
only
gear.
did I like
In
it,
second gear.
yeah, but my friend who was leading that year is still a wonderful human being that I still talk to on the regular. And I have to say, our wife and I used to live in the Mission on the cusp of Castro, so I really do miss my gay family, because being accepted by that community is one of the greatest gifts ever, right? And my barber used to be a gay porn star, and he was disgustingly handsome. That's all I'm going to say. But I had better hair.
They're standard.
Obi for the win.
Yeah, barely. Hey, by the way, this topic that you've brought up is one that we have talked about multiple times.
Yeah.
Just between us, and I find that we're at this interesting nexus. And I was listening to Andrew, who I haven't seen in a while, and he was talking about the Young Turks. And by the way, if you live in Southern California like I do, you know two things. One, they ain't so young anymore, and two, they really have become quite unrelevant on the scene of politics because they've jumped down so many conspiracy theory rabbit holes. And Cenk, when he ran for a state position here in Southern California, really did himself a great disservice with his opening of his mouth and letting his bullshit fly out. So I have lost all respect for him, and I used to be an ardent supporter, not only financially but in all the things.
Like Midas touch level to me, and I not anymore.
Yeah,
and I would
yeah.
totally agree with you. Yeah.
And I think this is part of the problem that Steve was kind of saying. The left spends more time inflicting wounds on itself so the GOP doesn't have to.
Correct.
Right? And then when Fox News does do something, when Fox Entertainment does do something, we run around scrambling to message. Like, here's how you message these things. You ignore them. When Vice President Harris was asked the question about pardoning Donald Trump, everyone missed what an awesome response that was. Yeah. The response is not to answer such a ridiculous and insulting question.
Correct.
The question was beneath the office, was beneath Vice President Harris, and there was absolutely no need to respond other than how she responded.
Correct.
That is what the left needs to do.
Agreed.
Listen, here's a real life example that I think every single human being that drives will understand. I know we like to look at a car crash. If you're not a fireman, an EMT, or a tow truck driver, guess what? You are unfucking qualified accident. So if the GOP wants to keep causing accidents, expecting us to rubberneck, stop looking. Stop giving it air. We are not required to be tolerant of the intolerant. This whole turning of the cheek and misogyny that most of us in Gen X grew up with because our parents are from the 40s and 50s, right? Those days are gone. We do not have to get along with people. The United States has never been united or equal for everyone. And this bullshit fairyland that the GOP likes to live in, let them go live in it. Because this is how lies cannot become a truth.
Yep.
Because if we don't give it oxygen, it doesn't exist. It only exists in their ecosystem, which is a really small bubble. And please do remember, MAGA is an incredibly tiny part of the electorate. And I mean tiny. At best, 3 to 5 million actual people are MAGA. Now, there are a bunch of people who will go along to get along, right? Like they'll go with their friends, they'll play the game because they live in a red area. I predict what we're going to see is literally one of the most lopsided popular vote elections in American history. It won't even be close. The Electoral College is a screwed up system that is literally built and established upon racism. The founding fathers said we have to ensure that white, wealthy landowners control the system. Therefore, they invented the Electoral College. There is no way that a GOP candidate for president can ever win the popular vote. That's why they don't want to get rid of the Electoral College. So what does this tell us, right? It tells us that these people live in a fantasy world that only exists where they're allowed to spew this information. People in television need to start cutting them off. Journalists need to stop asking stupid questions that they already know the answer to, right? If we're going to have a point in time where lies don't become the truth, it's incumbent upon us to also stop supporting these entities, right? I always get accused of, hey, you watch CNN. Guys, I don't have cable TV. So I don't watch CNN because I don't pay for cable. I unplugged like 10 years ago, right? I don't watch MSNBC. I do sometimes catch clips of Rachel when she's doing things that I think are important because she's an incredibly intelligent human being, and I enjoy her commentary because it's opinion and fact-based.
That's right. That's right.
But I don't swim in liberal media spaces because there isn't any. There are no liberal media spaces.
That's correct.
They are all publicly traded entities who have one mission: stock buybacks and keeping the shareholders happy. It's not telling news.
It's not. So I'm going to push back on you a little bit.
Please
I
do.
think it's significantly more than 3 to 5 million, and this is why. Because if it were that number, if it were just that number, you would not see elections as close as they are. And the reason I say that is because Republicans in the party know that Donald Trump is not the answer for what they want. What I mean by that is that he's not a fiscal conservative. He is certainly not even close to that. He is not strong on national security. He is not strong on defending corporations. He thinks he is. He talks a big game, but he's not. So I would say that MAGA is probably closer to 20 to 25 million. I think the fringe MAGA is probably what you're referring to, which is probably the massive extremists that are in their party. That I could see being between 5 and 10 million.
Yeah, I will gently push back and say, what were the numbers in the last election when Trump got his ass handed to him? What was the popular vote differential?
7 million.
Right. So I'm predicting it'll be 20 to 25 this time. And here's why.
Wow. Okay. Really? Ooh,
yeah. Here's why. More and more Republicans that you would not expect from the political arena are coming out and going, I cannot vote for this guy.
True.
The fact that persons from his administration came out in defense of General Kelly, something that was not on my bingo card,
Mine either,
tells me something. That listen, okay, let's just say that MAGA is 25 million. Let's just agree on 25 million, and that includes the 5 to 10 that's the fucking nutcases, right? So let's just say 25 million, right? If you make an assumption that moderate Republicans make up 5 to 10 million of that 25 million, which I think is safe to say. By moderate Republicans, I'm including independents, because I'm sorry, I've never met an independent that wasn't a moderate Republican at the end of the day, right?
Neocon, sure.
Right. I think that 50 to 60% of them are going to vote for Kamala Harris. And I think of the remaining 40%, 15 to 20% will sit the election out.
So the Liz Cheney effect, somewhat.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Interesting.
I truly believe that as I read what these folks are saying, right, as more and more military leaders that were under Trump are like, this guy is just not right. Now, I want to say something that people may not understand. For a man like General Kelly to do what he did is incredibly rare, not to mention a gift, right? Men and women who spend 40 plus years in the military don't speak. They just don't.
That's what I've been telling people. Like, just the fact that he even did this That in and of itself is the alarm bell.
Yeah.
Like, and forget the content of what he said. Like, just that he's saying anything like that.
Yeah, there's a code that think about it, right? How many people, right, serve that long in the military? It is literally like such a small
And
total
lost your own
population.
child. He's not only
That's
that,
right.
he's a
And
Gold Star
that's
family.
right.
Gold Star dad, yeah.
Gold Star dad, right?
Yep.
So what you see is a trend in which boomer military leaders, because that's what they are, they're true boomers, right?
Do you
Not
think-
in a negative sense.
So Francis asked this question, Obi, on this topic,
Yeah.
and I think it's a good one. So is this the permission structure because John Kelly and Mark Milley have come out now? Because the question is, why didn't they come out sooner? Why haven't we heard from more of them sooner?
Yeah, this is literally, oh, Francis, it's like you're reading my mind. This is where I'm going next.
Okay.
So there has always been kind of a spoken set of rules post-retirement for particular line officers, right? Those with stars on their shoulders, right? And especially, right? And they also are in a really tiny fraternity, right? And so they would have conversations amongst themselves and not publicly. I think what General Milley and General Kelly did is they looked at their peers and said, hey, we swore an oath to the Constitution. I know we're not supposed to say something. I know we're supposed to stay out of the fray of politics because we don't want to sully the stars on our uniform and we don't want to cross that line. Their oath has not expired. They just simply retired, right? This is so dramatic in its exceptionalism that two men who are beyond reproach, you cannot say a net negative thing about these two men. I won't fucking hear it, right? Not only are they fucking actual war heroes, right? They booted up and suited up for 40 plus years. And that takes a special kind of person, whether you like the military or not, irrespective. Anybody that shows up to a job for 40 plus years like that deserves at least a modicum of respect.
And to your point, Obi, there's so much film of them before this. All the people that are disparaging him now were just loving him in 2018.
Yep, because they couldn't say anything.
There was
That
nothing.
was-
There is
that was
nothing
the
now.
code.
But look at him pedal.
So,
Yeah.
So does this fit into, because what you just, I mean, I never really thought about it this way. Obviously, it's the break from, again, the support, the overwhelming support that by and large, again, goes back to my point that I just made a few minutes ago. Overwhelming support by and large, at least, and I won't do this now, but you've been very adamant about this, about how the right using active duty and veterans as tokens, and we see that often. We see it all the time, and the left does it too. Let's be real.
100%.
But in this case, because never before, at least in my lifetime, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this, up until Trumpism, there would be no way anybody on the right would ever disparage a decorated military officer like they have. Am I wrong about that?
No, are you kidding me? Because they'd be brutally attacked in the public square for doing so.
Your point, Steve, speaking of permission structure, Trump has given them that.
Exactly. So, I mean, just think about that. So it's literally, you've based your, God, guns, country, in whatever that might be. And you'll have signs, you'll have your POW MIA flag right next to your American flag. We've seen them all over the place. You talk about it, you'll see these ceremonies in cemeteries across the country honoring vets, the prestige, the highest regard, Arlington Cemetery, all these things. Trump comes along, disparage vets, and then all of a sudden, an entire movement in our country is, we can't believe John Kelly. He's a liar. He's a rhino, whatever it might be. Yeah, Milley's a traitor. Blah blah blah. I mean, it didn't take very long. That shift happened in 4 years or less.
Yeah,
It's wild to me. It's not just John Kelly, right? Like, he wasn't the first. I mean, we already have the statement for Milley. I mean, it's not. This is a pattern. Do they not see that?
Well, also, what I find interesting are these you want to know what a real beta male is? Look at the guys in the Trump campaign that are chirping from the cheap seats. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to walk right up to General Kelly and open your mouth sideways at him. Fuck around and find out. He may be old. That old man gets his hands on you, lights out, baby. You're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought about that before. I mean, how quick that happened. You know, we see it every day,
Yeah.
but it literally happened overnight.
Overnight.
Right. And what's really adding, and I know we didn't get to walk through the Atlantic article together.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, buddy. It's just one of those
But
weeks.
no. Hey, listen, stuff happens.
We still need to do that.
Invite me to that walkthrough because that article was something else.
Yeah, and trust me, I've got highlights and notes. Like I spent like 5 hours on that article.
I've been looking forward to actually talking to you about it. You were one of the first people I thought of I wanted to talk to about it.
Appreciate that. I'll just say this. A man of honor that says that he's going to pay for a funeral pays for the funeral.
Right.
So we know that the person that we're not going to mention his name that went and disparaged somebody, right, and saying that phrase that he said, we already know that man's not a man of honor. We also know that this is proof he's not a billionaire. You know what billionaires do? They just fucking give shit away because they can.
Correct.
Right? Look at every single billionaire that's a decent human being, which, by the way, doesn't include that piece of shit moron Elon Musk, who three things. One, was too stupid to graduate from college. Two, has never invented anything at all. And three, took his father's blood diamond money in order to purchase and leverage his way into companies and act as if he's the guy that invented shit. Meanwhile, what's the first thing he does is he kicks out all the founders of the companies to make him look good.
Correct.
Right? Now listen, Bill Gates, not exactly a high quality human being based on what he did with his wife. That's my personal opinion. But what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has done, that's an example. What Warren Buffett has done, that's an example. Right?
I wrote a grant on behalf of one of my clients a couple of years ago when I first went out on my own to the Melinda Gates Foundation and got money from them. Thought it was cool.
Yeah. And listen, for my mashpuka, Mr. Soros, right? He has done more for other human beings than any other billionaire in the history. But people keep thinking he's a boogeyman. He's literally set up an entire university that he funds to help people. Right?
Obi, here's where it really got me. That whole situation, right, wasn't really from his angle. I'm thinking about the parents of that beautiful girl and him in their face while the cameras were on saying, I'll help you. Sure, I'll help you. Like he had honor, like he did care. Right. And then while the cameras are off and when he does get the bill, he would say that. And then now her parents have now known, they no doubt know this story. As a mother, if like I think of my own daughter, if that were my daughter, and that was what he did to he played in my face and then said that behind my back. You think really that's the kind of man y'all are voting for? No.
That's right. Leslie, thank you for your patience, friend. I know you had a question for us. What's on your mind?
A couple of things. One is I wanted to ask some peer-like people as far as chronology. Do you remember the wave?
The wave?
As in the thing you do at sports events?
No, it was like an ABC after-school special, I think in the late 70s, early 80s. It was about, it was based on a true story of a school where they were studying the Second World War and the rise of the Third, and a student asked the teacher, how did they let this happen? And the teacher couldn't answer the question, so he did like a thought experiment where he basically recreated amongst the students, and they had peace through discipline, peace through community, and he, unbeknownst to the students and to the parents, I don't have my notes in front of me, but it was like a real life scandal when it all came out. But he basically turned some of his students into a little Gestapo, and it got way out of hand. And I remember seeing that as a kid and talking about that with my family. And I just don't see programming like that anymore. I fell into media studies in grad school, and that's just been on my mind, that where is the wave when we really, really need it? So if you never saw it, I highly recommend looking it up. But it also brought to mind another point when Erica was on, and there was a joke about her reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube video that I also in grad school, I wrote a paper on
By the way,
female.
Leslie, we just added to our Discord. We found it. It's on YouTube. We just added to our
Perfect.
Discord, the wave.
Perfect. I think it's only like an hour. It is worth a watch, but it is not an easy watch.
Sure.
But in grad school, I wrote a paper on female empowerment through BDSM. And I wrote about how, well, I found research, and there's a great YouTube video on how 50 Shades of Grey is an absolutely terrible depiction of the BDSM community. It is actually following line by line how a cult member or how a cult leader gets devotion from their following.
I'm so glad you said that, Leslie, because I was going to bring up the same point if you were going to say something different. So thank you.
No, I just think that it was part of this long-running psyops against the American people, training us to want something like a cult leader, because we don't understand where that very clear line is between healthy expressions and just complete subservience. And I think that again, I'm a media scholar, so I look at the media that we consume. The popular media is so reflective of who we are, and it also pushes us in a direction we need to be more mindful of.
Leslie, you gave us the recommendation. Oh, go ahead, Steve. I want to tell her the recommendation.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a fellow media scholar, although not officially, I'm loving what you're laying down, as they say, because I talk about this all the time.
Yes.
All the time. I'm sorry.
We literally had a conversation about this. Was the whole reason for this topic, Leslie, is I told Steve, I was like, this is a big psyop, and I was going to unpack what a psyop was, because yes, that's exactly what's happening. And I wanted to give you a recommendation, since you were so lovely to give us the wave. That if you follow Brene Brown, she has a podcast called Unlocking Us, and she interviews Heather Cox Richardson in a two-parter. And I think what you're talking about, you would really enjoy that podcast. One of the things they talk about is just like, she gives some really, I'll just let you listen to it. I'm not even going to go into it, but it's really great. And I'll put it in the Discord too.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. We appreciate you very much, friend. Have a good night.
For the record, don't go anywhere, Leslie. Hold on a second. This is super important.
Sure.
Nerd alert. I would like you to both understand there are 2 Jedi on the panel.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
there are 2 Jedi on the panel.
I lit my saber on October
droids you were
21st.
looking for.
I lit up my saber on October 21st in honor of Carrie, and I'm doing whatever I can to make sure that we don't elect Palpatine.
Preach.
Awesome. You know what? I got to follow you back now. That was awesome. Sorry I haven't followed you back.
Very nice you are. Sorry.
Yes. This
May
is
the force
way.
be with you.
Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate you very much. I want to bring up V, said she had a question.
I love talking to fellow smart people. It's
Me
so
too.
great.
Wasn't that nice? And I think I do.
Me too.
Do you guys remember that special? Because now when she was saying it, I kept thinking, I'm like,
really
God,
trying
that
to
sounds familiar.
Looking at the
really trying
screen
to
grab from it that's in our Discord now, it does ring a bell. I mean, just the ABC after school specials. I mean, we all came of age with those for sure. In good ways and bad ways. Hi, V. How are you tonight?
And Blue Lagoon.
Oh, stop it.
Don't even go there. Holy mom, I have to end early. Hey now. Hi, V. How are you?
Hey, Steve. Thank you for letting me come on. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I just, I'm in Texas, and of course, I'm voting Kamala.
Thank you.
But so I'm in a very red county here in Texas, Kirk County, Texas. Very, very red. But there's a few Democrats here too. We kind of stay silent. I think we're a little fearful because there's some pretty rough people out here. But anyway, so I voted today. I would have voted earlier, but I was in Austin helping my daughter with my new grandchild.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But so I just got back yesterday and I voted today. And so I'm getting out of my car and I walk in and there's a couple of women there, that are about my age, boomers, and they're giving out these brochures, and I look at the brochure and it's 100 feet away.
Okay.
And,
That's my first question.
right, exactly. Yeah, I checked that out. I wish I would have had a tape measure because actually it looked more like 80 feet.
Okay.
But anyway, so these brochures are like Trump, Vance, Chip Roy. And, Chip Roy is, a carpetbagger. I mean, he's from Maryland. And so I have no representation here, really. He's my congressman, unfortunately. But I'm definitely, I voted for Kristen Hook. But nonetheless, so this brochure, she's handing out these brochures. And it's not really a folded brochure. It's just a piece of paper, basically. But it's like a 5x7, and you can see at the very front it's Chip Roy, Trump, Vance, all that, and all these people. She's giving it out to everybody, right? So you walk in to the voting area. But anyway, when she gave it to me, I looked at it and I said, I'm not interested in this. And so I gave it back to her and she said, oh, well, that's fine. Then the next foot or two is maybe 90 feet. I don't know, it's just right on the border of 100 feet away from where we vote. So anyway, so I go in. And when I go in to sign my name and give my registration card and my driver's license, the people there are asking me for that. And there are those brochures right there, staring right in front of me. And I'm like, is this supposed to be in here? Because
No.
there was nothing that said Kamala next to it, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz. It was all just Republican stuff. And there are these brochures where people come in and they sign in and they leave these brochures there. They're given to everybody. So they leave them there on the table right when you're signing in. And I said, are you supposed to be allowing this in here?
They're
She
not.
said, oh, no. I said, so she said, oh, no, let me go ahead and take that. And she tells the other lady, I don't think these are supposed to be in here.
They're not.
So I said, I told her, I said, that's against the law, isn't it?
It is.
And she said, well, we're gonna remove it. So when you go in, and this is a big county, but the area where I voted, Ingram, Texas, is a small town, and
Please report that to your election commission.
Absolutely. I mean,
well,
absolutely.
yeah, I plan on doing that, but I voted. It was kind of late. It was like 4:30, and I had to get to the bank and etc. But so I go in and it's just these little booths, the little tables, the little desk, and you have the little they're like shaded so you can't see. There's I don't know what they give you the paper ballot. And you're just scribbling in, who you're going to vote for. You black it out in each square box. And so I did that. But when I walked in there, I noticed on all the desks, people had left these brochures with Trump Vance.
So every state runs, because in our country, in our system, states run run the elections, right? So every state has the rules and they vary. Some states say you can't wear clothing within 100 yards, whatever it might be.
Right.
So every state's
Right.
a little bit different. But election propaganda, literally inside a polling location, is against the law in all 50 states.
Well, let me finish. So there was an election guy in there, he was watching over everything. And so we fill out the ballot and then we have to go put it into the machine, right? We put our paper ballot into the machine that calculates everything. And when I'm walking up, I still see some of these brochures. And I said, isn't this against the law? He said, let me go pick those up. So he went and he picked them up. There were a few on the desk. And he said, this is not electioneering. This is not against the law. And I said, well, okay, fine. Because what am I going to say? I'm not going to cause a ruckus right there in the middle of where everybody's
You need to cause a ruckus.
Oh yeah, you should.
Well,
You need to cause a ruckus.
I did raise my voice a little bit. And I said, have you noticed all these brochures here laying on the desk where people are voting? Well, yes, let me go pick those up. Anyway, so
So did you have a question? I mean, what do you?
So I went in and I started. Well, I wanted to kind of just see what Steve thought about this, because
Sure.
I went in and I checked the rules. I Googled the electioneering. What is electioneering in Texas? So if you Google it and you read what is electioneering in the state of Texas. So basically, you can't do any electioneering within 100 feet of the voting area.
Right. That's right.
Okay, but and then if I went inside and I said, "Hey, everybody, vote for Kamala," then that's a federal offense, right? But it's okay. No, let me tell you.
Again,
It's what I read was nothing said anything was negative or against taking brochures in and just nonchalantly leaving them on the desk.
right, but again, so this is a cautionary tale. So we have to do more than just raising our voice fee. So I'm not calling you out here, but we have to do more. Okay. So the reality of the circumstances of what that was voter intimidation, electioneering. That's the appropriate term for it. There are people that are intended to oversee election officials, but we know in our divided country now that people are partisan, right? So that is a blatant violation of the law, and because due respect, V, because people are not making it a serious enough issue, it goes on.
Oh, I agree.
It's one thing to say, I saw it, I raised my hand, but we have to do more as citizens. We are all
I
in this
totally
together.
agree with you, and I am not done with this because
Okay,
on
good.
Monday I'm going to the courthouse.
Good.
I've already called the head of the Kirk County Democratic Party. She never returned my call. I called another one of the women that run it, and she never returned my call. But it was Friday evening, so I'm still working on that. But on Monday, I'm going to the courthouse. I'm going to complain about it. And
Well,
also,
it's the election commission that you need to file a
Exactly,
report
it's not the
with.
courthouse fee. Because
then I will.
It needs to be your election commissioner in your town, your secretary, the secretary of state, your city clerk, the people who are responsible for an election. Don't even bother with the court.
And
Don't
all
even
you
bother
need
with the court.
And Steve also, though, here's the problem. Okay, here's the problem. We have Greg Abbott, and
let's stay focused.
let me finish. Let me finish. We have a very
V. Hang on a second. Okay, deep breath.
just have to report.
Let's keep this focused here. Okay, we're not going to talk about Greg Abbott. We're not going to talk about
Ken
any of that.
Paxton, our cricket
V,
attorney
Doesn't
general.
matter.
V.
Doesn't matter.
V. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay,
This is outside of partisan. This
Exactly.
is
Your local election official. That's where you have to go. You find out
Thank
who
you.
that is in the town that you're in, your city clerk's office. That's where it has to start. It's because you can't wait. Okay, there's 9 days.
No, I
you can't-
agree. I agree.
Don't
you can
worry
go.
about-
The polls are probably open tomorrow, so don't wait until Monday.
Here's
So-
what I heard you doing, V, was going online to see if it was a problem or not. That's not for you to decide. What you need to do is just report what you saw, let them take it from there. So the most important thing you can do is tell them what you saw. Let them investigate it. That's
The
all
election officer in would it be the county election officer? Is that what you said? It's the county? Because I actually think the guy that was overseeing everything today was the county election officer.
That's
I'm
my
not
point, though. You need to go. You find it. First of all, we can probably help. So we can find out where you live. You don't have to give us. I don't want you to dox yourself, but you want to reach out to one of our mods. We can go through the Discord. We can try to give you some direction. So this is a cautionary tale for everybody. If you see something, say something. That's the whole point, because there are people. The problem with people, the apathy that we have in our electorate, again, due respect, V, is we expect somebody else to do it for us. Don't spend your time researching it. Just say, this is what I saw. Is that a violation of electioneering? If not, then explain to me why it's not. If it is, why isn't somebody doing something about it?
right.
Okay.
And I did approach him. I said, isn't this a violation? I mean, this is against the law. These brochures
But
are on
you're missing
people's-
again. You're missing the point. Okay, he's the person that's doing it, that's not addressing it. So you need to go outside of that. Don't get hung up on researching what the rules are. Literally, go to the city clerk's office. Walk in there and tell them exactly what you saw. Okay.
That's why I wanted to bring that up to you to see what your opinion was of that, because but then again, when I read the electioneering in the state of Texas, if you Google it, nothing said anything about you can't bring a brochure.
Don't interpret it, V. Don't interpret it yourself. Okay.
It's like having a crime committed. It's like being a witness to a crime and going to see if that crime is chargeable by the prosecution. That's not your job. Just go report it.
Just go report
good.
it.
Okay. And so people are voting on Saturdays. So you're saying the vote? I didn't know.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, some
I think it's close to.
Some locations are. It's just.
I'll check that. I'll definitely. Okay, but here's something I did do, because I did raise my voice a little bit when I left. When I left, the woman who was handing me those brochures, who was at 100 feet, away, she said, "Oh, well, thank you for coming today." And I said, "I am so excited about having a woman president."
That's great.
And I didn't do anything illegal because I was past the 100 feet, whatever.
Well, again, free speech is protection, V. But again, see something, say something. Don't just stop researching it. Stop looking it up on Google. Stop doing any of that. Don't worry about Ken Paxton or Greg Abbott or any of that. Walk into your county election officials and report what you saw. Okay.
Well, thank you. And the only reason I mentioned Ken Paxton is because he's so corrupt and he's done so many.
Stay focused. Don't worry about that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, that's why I wanted to contact you, and thanks for letting me up. And I'm going to go fight this on Monday.
You got it.
I'm pretty
Thank you,
pissed off. So
good. Keep that energy.
Appreciate you, V. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Keep that energy.
Everybody, stay focused. Not the forest. The tree.
Can I just share my one takeaway here?
Sure.
So it's 2024, and people are still voting like it's 1950. Why is it that states like listen? I'm lucky. I live in California, right? Oregon does this. Washington does this. You'll notice that the entire West Coast has this figured out. We do this thing. It's called voting by mail, where you sit at home in your lazy boy recliner.
You take your time.
You take your time. You read. You research.
Well, you have to look at your 12-page ballot. I can just go done.
The heck with that, though.
That's true.
I have a phone that knows who I am if my eyes doesn't know who I am if my eyes aren't open. We can do this a lot more efficiently. I'm tired of this.
Agreed. Jello, how are you tonight? I'm sorry, Robbie. Jello, how are you? Thank you for your patience. Jello?
Hi. Hi. This is only the second time I've done a live, and the first time was an accident. Anyway, I'm in Oregon, so that's interesting, and I just dropped off my ballot a few minutes ago.
Awesome.
I wanted to just touch on the Tucker Carlson speech. I'm walking my dog too, so I hope I don't cut out. The Tucker Carlson speech. You guys have. Oh, so gross. So gross. But
I didn't even watch it.
For a long time, I've been trying to figure out. You what?
Let's let her speak because she's got a little bit of a lag, guys. So
I'm gonna
let's just
move.
go ahead, Jello.
I may not have a good connection. I may not be able to do this.
We got you. Jello, are you there? We got you.
I am. I will try again when I get home because I think my connection is bad out here where I'm walking my dog.
You do have a
If
red
you're
bar.
still there, we'll see if I can get on.
Okay. We'll be here. Thank you, Jello.
Good. I want her to come back because I do want to talk about that. That was gross.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, the cautionary tale, and again, due respect to V, but we got to stop the nonsense of trying to figure shit out. You see something, say something. If you see a car that goes over a cliff, you wouldn't say, is it legal for cars to go over a cliff? You would report something. Let's have the same energy. We guys, we got to stop trying to figure out that we're the forensics experts. If you see something, it looks odd, say something. Let's just fucking pony up and do shit. Don't just let somebody else solve the problem, okay?
Yeah.
We gotta fix it. Stand up. If you see something that looks odd, ask questions. Hey Dan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing fine, thank you, sir. What's on your mind tonight?
I just think that we're in big trouble.
We are. Why are we in big trouble?
Myself, I went and tried to go vote and everything else, and I've been threatened. My family's been threatened because we're Democrats. And they said if I voted for Harris, then my family and everything will be euthanized. And
Dan,
they got people over here watching
mindful.
us
Let's just probably be
and everything
mindful
else.
Let's try to be mindful of our language, okay? So, have you
Okay,
reported
I'm sorry.
it? It's okay.
Yeah,
Have
you report that to the police.
Yeah, have you reported it?
Yes, I have reported to the police and to all the authorities, and they're sitting there saying that all they told me is they'll look into it, but at this point, I can't even vote because I'm pretty much threatened.
Well, why
So,
can't you
I
vote?
can't
Your vote
even
is
vote.
secret, Dan.
Huh?
Nobody knows who you're voting for. It's private. Your vote's your own.
No, they don't, but I got Harris flags all over my house.
Okay.
Which was one downfall I did by getting a bunch of Harris flags and banners on my house and stuff like that. And then I had my whole town, everybody, and I went down and I never got my ballot. They stole my ballot out of my box because I tried to get an early ballot.
Yeah,
And they stole it out of my ballot box.
You can request a provisional ballot, Dan.
And they stole it, and I never got one. So went down over there to go vote, and then over here over Washington State, they're like at the polling places, the Trump supporters, and they already threatened me and my family if I voted for Harris, that they already got my address and everything else, and
Dan,
I'm pretty much done.
Like, they can threaten you all they want, okay? Like, just go vote. Why are you letting them play with you like that?
So Dan, I guess so there's a couple things in play. First of all, I'm sorry that happened. Obviously, people need to make their own decisions, but voter intimidation is part of what we are seeing here.
Glad
Right?
you got the authorities involved.
Right. So I mean, you have. So when you contacted the authorities, what did they say?
They would look into it and stuff like that. That's all they said. They'll look into it and see what threats they are or whatever. And I said, I live in the rural area up in Washington State, so I don't go to the city too much.
Okay.
I
bet Obi knows the next question I'm going to ask. Is there a motorcycle club near you?
A what?
Is there a motorcycle club near you?
Yep.
No, I don't know.
It's too bad.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things here, Dan. There's a couple things. First of all, I'm
And
really,
right now, I'm frightened. I'm
You can
frightened to
call the
vote.
election commission
I'm
as well.
frightened to leave my home
You
and
can
everything
call
else because, you know
Dan.
what I mean? I'm scared to leave my home. So I just bought a bunch of food and stuff like that. And I'm just in
I'm
the
so
woods
sorry
of the
that you're
mountains up here. And I'm scared to leave.
well.
I'm
I wish
frightened to death because I don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, I've already been threatened already by a bunch of mega people. And I don't want my family hurt or harmed over this election or nothing like that. And, you know, and it's, I just rather want to be left alone and let my family be left alone up here in the mountains up here and stuff like that. But when they found me, because I had banners or flags on my property, and they tore them down, they burned my shed down, and they pretty much put death threats on me and everything else. So I don't know what more I can do. And the law is not really here to help me.
so you
So I'm just
did you
like up
contact your
here by
sheriff? Or
myself with nothing.
when you said you contacted law enforcement, who'd you contact?
The sheriff's office.
Okay, so then I
And
would go to
then
the state police.
then not only the sheriff's office, I contacted the DOJ.
Okay, so
Of this government office.
okay, so you contacted the sheriff, and then did you contact the state police?
Yes.
Okay, and what did they tell you?
And they just told me if nothing's going to happen, they can't do anything, but threats are threats. And they can't do nothing for me.
That's not true. So do you have a name of somebody? Because there's people in our chat that say they're willing to drive you to the polls if you want to vote.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a couple
No
things.
reason not.
There's a couple things, Dan. So voter intimidation like that, those are felonies. Those are felony crimes. I mean, threats like that, those can rise to some serious levels. So it's unacceptable for anyone to tell you that they'll look into it. Okay. So if you feel like you're having a threat, then I would suggest that you contact people until you get an appropriate response, whether it be the sheriff's department, whether it be the DOJ, whether it be the state police, whether it be local police. Now, I understand the circumstance that you're in, but this is what people who want, think about what you're experiencing. All you want to be able to do is vote. That's it. All you want to be able to do. And because people on the right have become so blinded in their support for a fascist that they will literally threaten people for just expressing your constitutional right. Now, everybody makes their own decisions. I get it. I get it. People have to make decisions for their family. I understand. But this is unacceptable. This is just unacceptable. Unacceptable. So I would say continue to call. So if I'll give you a small example, anecdotal. I was doxxed a few years ago now, and I just was not getting the answers that I liked. And I finally found somebody who was willing to help me, and happened to know somebody who worked in with federal law enforcement who stepped up. I'm fortunate, but there were arrests made because of what happened. So these things can happen. We cannot. This is not acceptable.
And you could contact, to Steve's point earlier, there's motorcycle clubs that have organizations that will help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
they are the staunchest of people's rights.
Right. Exactly. They would never accept something like that. They would never accept something like that. And there's other groups too. So there's a lot of people in the chat that are saying that there's resources that are available for people.
Yeah, BACA.
Yeah, BACA. I saw something from Mark. What did Mark say? Like your local county, your county officials. Maybe we can figure out a way to get some more information. But I don't.
Don't grow weary, Dan.
Yeah, I've contacted.
I know it's
I've
hard.
actually went out there and contacted the United States Senator's office and my Congress in Washington State, and told them and explained my situation to them, and told them I'm being threatened
Contact
everything else. My
contact
family's going to be threatened if I
Dan.
vote because
Dan.
I'm a Harris fan.
Dan.
So pretty much, I'm done.
Contact the media.
Contact the media. Contact the news. Because think of it this way. I mean, this is one of those things. The pebble in the pond scenario where it's if they're doing it to you, then they're doing it to other people as well.
Yep. You're not alone. You're not the only one they've targeted. I'm sure.
I would look.
And
I
I'm
would
afraid.
honestly look to see if there's
I know it
motorcycle
takes
clubs in your area.
courage. Dan, I know it takes courage. And you got it. You got courage.
Are you a
came out
veteran?
here-
I've went to the store, bought a bunch of food and everything else, and I hung over with a bunch of food because, you know what? The next couple of weeks, I don't even want to leave my home because I'll probably be killed
No,
by
don't
these
say-
people.
Don't say things like
you
that.
know, and
Yeah.
or unalived. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
unalived.
Are you a veteran?
No,
Okay.
and so I'm afraid of my life to even leave my home now because of these threats. And I've had some flags up in my yard. My shed was burned down and everything else. And
And they can't.
I've already
threaten
had
you.
fires
They
on my
can't,
property and everything.
They can't. If you put a light on them, they have no leverage. You got to be the voice. You have to tell, because if they have the silence, they're going to keep doing it to you. You have to have the courage to bring the light to the ugly, because
That's right.
all their leverage exists in the quiet.
The ACLU, somebody suggested that. That's a good call. Civil liberties. I mean, there's democracy fighters out there. There's
Don't let 'em do that
election
to you.
personnel. Find out where you vote. Contact the local election officials and tell them literally that you're being intimidated. We know this about bullies, Dan.
know.
We know this about bullies, that bullies, once the light is on them, they will run and hide like the fucking cowards that they are.
Yep.
So, this
Don't let them take your power, Dan. Don't let them do it. You're better than that. I hear the goodness in your heart. You're better than that.
At my point that I'm so afraid.
I understand.
I can't even go
I would
to
make
the grocery
I would
store
make a
now.
small suggestion at first, Dan.
You know?
I would change your profile name.
I'm too afraid to even go shopping to the store
But there's
because I'm
people-
too afraid of these people.
But Dan, there's people there. Just as much as there's people out there to bully you, there are people out there who are going to help you and protect you and defend you and make sure that your voice gets counted like everyone else's. So all you have to do is speak.
Yeah, I would go to the press. I would literally pick up as soon as you get off with us. I would literally call your local whoever it is, your local news station, and tell them what's going on. This is the kind of stuff that they jump on for these kinds of stories.
We're here to support you too, Dan. Our community is in full support. We'll help you in whatever resources you need, whatever support you need. But that stuff we can't let that float. We can't. But we're here to support you because I know you're scared, and I'm sorry that happened to you and you feel scared.
I'm frightened to death. I'm frightened for my family, and
I know.
I'm frightened to go out of my house. So, I'm not
Again, if you want to
saying
end the
I'm bad
fear,
about it.
if you
I'm
want
just scared to death.
I know, if you want to
Yeah.
stop being scared, you got to talk about it. That's the only cure. It's gonna if you keep it quiet, you're gonna continue to be intimidated. You got to face it and bring it to light. I know it's uncomfortable, but you can do it. It's just a little bit. And then once you get through it and once people are taking your side, you're going to be so glad that you spoke up, and it's courageous of you, and you got
That's right. Friends, neighbors, a group of people go together. But definitely, Dan, please consider changing your username on your TikTok profile. I would never encourage anybody to put their full government issued name out there.
Start
Okay.
there. Before you
start with
say
something like that.
anything, do a good social media privatization before you do anything else. Start there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, it's just a.
Oh, don't
And
say
that's
sorry.
pretty much why I'm probably tagged a lot.
Yeah.
No, it's all
Maybe.
right. I would recommend that, and then I would consider again.
support you.
It's about activism, right? It's literally get on the phone with media, get on the phone with everybody you can until somebody gives you an answer. There's 11 days until this happens.
Yes,
You have
sir.
a right to vote as a citizen in our country, and I would just encourage you to just push and push and push until you get somebody who's willing to listen. The media is a great place to start. You could even say that you got no response from law enforcement, and that's another story that the media can
Put
follow.
everybody under the microscope. What's going on? Yeah, media.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Keep us posted, Dan. Okay.
Okay.
And change
Well, I
your user
will.
profile
Thank
name.
you guys so much for your
got
help
it.
and
You got it.
your output on it. And I love the clan, and pretty much then I guess my only other choice is to get all the news networks and let them know on fighting.
Exactly.
And
Call
I was
every single one of them.
intimidated.
Call every
Yep.
single one
I'm
of
not
them.
allowed to vote because if I get vote, I get killed.
If
Let's
you-
not use those words anymore, Dan.
Don't
Okay.
use those
I'm
words,
sorry. I'm
Dan.
gonna have to drop you after that. That's the last.
Burn alive, I mean.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that. But thank you for being here, friend. I mean, I'm sure there's an opportunity here to move the needle on these kinds of things. I'm a little questionable about that. Anyway. But that's-
Hey, on behalf of our wife, hello,
yeah. Yes. Hello, our
because
wife.
she's sitting next to me, and I am hating that I didn't mention this. Part of my Salad Days heroes continue to disappear month after month. And today we lost Phil.
I dedicated the beginning of the show to Phil.
Yeah, you missed it at the beginning.
And-
Our opener.
Yeah. And for those of us who have been following the Grateful Dead since 1977, it's a really telling sign about life, and that at 57 I'm now at that age where the people that I looked up to, the people that I loved and respected in music, are leaving us, right?
long, strange
Not
trip
to
it's been.
mention yeah, indeed. Not to mention the long string of journalists and authors who have left us. That were a part of my childhood, you know? And so I think what I would like to leave everyone with is that when you find something that's important to you, make sure you pass it down to the next generation, right? And keep it alive, because like it or not, after 135 shows, I have decided that I now like the Grateful Dead.
135? Okay, see, you win.
Yeah,
You've only had 80.
I think I'm like at 80, although I'm not sure. I mean, it could be more or less.
I mean, you lose
there's,
track.
There's many that were literally a blur.
I was going to say some I'm fairly certain physically I was present, but I may have been on a different plane, as they say, metaphysically.
You
I
know, a
waking
band
up and
is
saying, I
great.
remember waking up and saying, "Thank you, Cleveland," when we were actually in Minneapolis.
You know, a band is great
Right.
when they have their own strain of the Devil's Lettuce named after them.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Anyway, I love you both. My
Love you
wife
too.
loves you both.
Love you, Dan.
And we're gonna go have din dins and watch Agatha all along.
Nice. Have fun with that. There's a teenage girl sleepover happening at my house this evening with some noise out there. That's kind of. I'm glad my headphones are in. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
y'all.
you, brother. I love
Peace
you.
and
See you,
love.
buddy. Bye.
Good night, Ed.
These stories,
Yeah.
it's 2 in a row. Folks, we have to be active. We cannot accept what we're hearing. Bellar, how are you tonight, friend?
Hey, Facts. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. What's going on?
Good. So, yeah, I was watching your show from the beginning of the live, and there was a guest that came up, and was talking about, how people are still undecided, people are really sitting back and saying, hey, I'm not going to vote, and it kind of crossed my mind with this election. And, let's put all the politics aside for a second and think about, these two candidates who are running. We have a country where, it's been based on racism for the longest time. And we have one person, trying to bring us together, and the other one who's just literally trying to spread hate. So my question to everyone that's voting, just in general, put all the politics aside. Stop saying, oh, well, I had more money in my pocket, when so and so was in office. Think about your children, your family members, like the people that you grew up with, people that that are immigrants, that have affected your life, so we need to put all that aside and decide what kind of world we want to live in. Are we going to live in a world of hate, or we're going to come together? And that's where people really need to understand. So I think a lot of people are missing the point, talking about, oh, I'm not going to vote, I'm just going to sit back, and just watch everything happen. So we really need to wake up. I'm not really sure what's going on with this world, because it just doesn't make sense to me. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part, Villar, I think we've talked about this before, you and I. The sad part is that we know, again, I'll repeat, that the black woman in America is the most disrespected person there is, the most disrespected demographic, without question. So there are people that are just never Trumpers, right? They're good. They're locked into their beliefs. They're never Trumpers. They're not going to vote for Trump, but they can't bring themselves to vote for a black woman. That is the most disturbing part of this entire thing. Literally, people, I've said this before, she has to be flawless while he's lawless. Because she does, let's be real, she can give long-winded answers. I don't care. I can be long-winded. I respect that. Game respects game, as they say.
As a fellow long-winded person, I approve.
Absolutely. So and then Donald Trump's talking about Arnold Palmer's dick. I mean, let's be real. It's this false equivalency argument. I'm so sick and tired of people saying lesser of two evils. No, you're a racist bigot.
With that, Steve, let's tell it for what it is. We need to ask, what good did Mustache Man do? Because apparently this guy thinks he did some good things, right? Like, he can talk about Arnold Palmer's dick all he wants. That doesn't concern me. What concerns me is his alignment with Mustache Man.
Correct.
And thinking he's a cool guy.
Correct. Exactly. Wanting generals like Schmettlers. I mean, again, it's really important for people to understand this, okay? This is not going to end on November 5th. It's not going to end. This is out there. We need a referendum. I'm not as all in on with Obi as far as the massive numbers. I just think there's too many racist bigots in our country that would be hesitant to vote for Kamala Harris on the left. I think it's the bullshit freaking, I'm snowflakes on the left that want to sit in their space of privilege and thinking that, it's okay, I'm good. Yeah, I mean, she's not quite perfect. She's not progressive enough for me. It's Israel. Get off your fucking entitled ass and do the right thing.
Factory.
Exactly. Enough of this navigating through this like it's not. I wish she gave me more details. Or oh, I'm sorry. You got a guy who idolizes Schmittler on the other side. Really?
Like, enough said.
Really? I mean, enough of this game.
Alone should do it.
People's lives are infected. Nothing changes for me on November 5th. I'm at the pinnacle of the patriarchy in our country.
Well,
nothing happens for me.
You're a pew owner, so that's even, they're coming for you now.
Apparently so. But enough of this shit. We know who MAGA is. We're not going to change their mind. But if you're on the left and you claim to be about your the things that you go to rallies for and you represent, and you got your BLM sticker on your car, and you raise money for your local GSA, your Gay Straight Alliance in your school, but then you're like, she's just not progressive enough. Fuck you. Get your shit together.
All the way off.
Get your shit together. Go to your fucking defend people like Dan. Go to your local polling location and find out what the fuck's going on. Enough of your bullshit. Enough. Give me a break. Literally, fuck you. Literally. I mean, enough of this nonsense. Enough.
And the last thing that I wanted to mention before I get off,
Steve.
And this is not to offend any woman out there, but with all the women that are voting for Donald Trump, he goes around literally insulting Kamala, and
they offend me. Those women offend me, best believe. Yeah.
The way he's talking about women in general, like that's how this guy feels about women. And you guys should just sit there and not, do anything about it and vote for him. This whole Roe versus Wade thing, you know, it was about a woman's privacy, but people don't really understand that Trump only overturned it because all he wants to do is control women. Like, I don't understand why they're not seeing his character and who he is. How can you vote for a guy who wants to control you, who has no respect for you? So it's just crazy to me, you know, and people want to bring their religion into this abortion stuff. And I'm like, listen, I'm a Christian, right? By the end of the day, I cannot tell a woman, you know, what she or she cannot do with her body. You know, even if I don't believe in it, at the end of the day, that's between the woman and whoever they worship. That's between the woman and her family. That's between the woman and her doctor. Like, people just need to stay out of this. Trump is only just trying to control women. He doesn't care about anything. You know, so that's all I had to say.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for
I
everything.
appreciate you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, man. Look, I am so sick and tired of the entitled left. I am so fucking tired of the whining and complaining about your perfection. The people who have the biggest mouths when it comes to rallying for activism, which I respect, don't show up and vote. Give me a break. For people, the quest for perfection usually leaves the trail of acceptance on the side of the road. If you want change in something, then do something about it.
Don't let perfection be the enemy of the good.
Exactly. Thank you. That's the quote I was looking for. You're right, Jennifer. People are looking for. If you think things are going to be perfect in the body politic, then you might just want to move to an island and live there by yourself and break coconuts.
Well, really, at
It
the
ain't
end of the
gonna happen.
day, it's a failure in our education system to not understand our political system and how this works. Like, this is not the time. This is not what's good. What you think is going to happen is not going to happen.
Exactly. Hi, Jello. How are you?
Hi, I'm sorry. I was walking my dog and we were kind of in the woods. So
That is an acceptable reason to have 0.5G.
No worries.
Yes. Anyway, I wanted to touch on that Tucker Carlson speech that was disgusting.
Yeah.
And I have been thinking for wondering, like everybody else, how do all these people follow the absurdity of Trump and think it's okay? And it just blows my mind. Every day there's something that blows my mind. And you guys have touched on that I've been listening to you throughout the day. And I personally, I think it comes down to parenting, and especially authoritarian style parenting. And I think Tucker's speech was a disgusting example of authoritarian parenting and abuse and sadism. It was very creepy and gross.
Very.
And it was a huge example of that. And, you know, a characteristic of that type of parenting is children are told things like, you know, oh, that doesn't hurt, stop crying. They're told how to think, and they're not taught how to regulate their feelings. And what I saw at the end, it all came full circle to me. So he's giving this disgusting example, and then he ends it with something along the lines of daddy's home, you know, this fear and scary patriarchal. And he's talking about a 2-year-old girl. This is talking
exactly.
And spanking them.
And spanking and abusive. And I know spanking's controversial, but, you know, the whole demonstration was
there's no controversy. It's not a good thing.
No, it's not a controversy to me either. No, I totally agree with you. But you get on that page and then it's a big thing. Anyway, I digress. Anyway,
it's not.
So he ends it with daddy's home, you know, this fear tactic in the patriarchal society. And then when it came full circle to me was when Trump walked out on stage and the entire audience is chanting daddy's home.
Daddy Don. Daddy Don.
Oh, I thought they were saying daddy's home. So see, I was wrong. But
that
still,
too. I think it was Daddy Don.
It's such a cult. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they clapped and they cheered these. I mean, it was beyond just, you know, normal. I mean, there's a certain aspect of authoritarian parenting that's considered normal in this culture, but this was way beyond that, you know, way beyond that. And they were clapping and cheering, and that's producing adults that are told how to think and don't know how to regulate their feelings. Therefore, they're easily enticed by fake outrage. And that's my thoughts on that. So I wanted to share and see if anybody else had similar thoughts.
Well, it fits
That's all
into
I
exactly
do.
what we're talking about tonight for the most part. But I mean, we see this every single day. Jello.
Well,
I mean,
think about what I do for a living.
The weird part for me, and this goes back to what we talked about earlier about people, the shift from the right from always being 10 toes down in support of veterans, and because John Kelly and Mark Milley come out against Trump, all of a sudden they're traitors to the country.
Right.
You talk about protecting the kids. You literally talk about protecting your kids every single day up in these spaces when you go after the trans community, when they're less than 1% of our population, when it's the people in their own family that are assaulting kids. And you get Tucker Carlson standing on stage advocating for spanking. I mean, it's literally the cult mind that no one in the cult can do any wrong. Protect the cult at all cost. Daddy Donnie will save us from the big bad woke open-minded people on the left who want to just support human rights. Again, fuck them. There's more of us than there are of them. There's more of us. No excuses, no more apathy, no more thinking somebody else is going to save us. It is on us. There is more of us than them.
What you're seeing is what happens when people don't go to therapy and heal from that shit.
Absolutely.
That's what you're
100%. It's hard to be raised like that with no apathy, a parent telling you how to think and feel and not get therapy to overcome it. I mean, I think some people do.
Everybody needs therapy.
Everybody does. Yes.
It's what I do for a living, so I'm a bit biased. But when when I tell people get therapy, I'm not joking. Like, no.
I heard you say that. That's why I thought you were a good person to bring this up with. If you thought there was any, I'm no expert. I heard you talk about your parents and how they raised you. And I also had parents like that, a psychiatrist father and a Jungian analysis mother. They were hippies in the 70s. Not that I'm any of those things, but
Your mother was top notch. If she was a Jungian, your mother was top notch, because that's literally the basis of most of the things I utilize in my practice. Is Jungian.
He is top notch. And again, I just came out of growing up with that kind of talk in my household, and very liberal and wonderful. I'm so grateful. So anyway, I could relate to you, and I feel so sad about the way things are going in this country. And I feel it comes down to how children are raised. And that's where we need to look at that. People need to start figuring this out.
Absolutely.
Because we need to figure out why so many people cannot discriminate truth from reality and will not
tell you, I'll end up healing your children eventually, because they are coming to me in adulthood.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Jello, thank you for that reminder. I appreciate it. It speaks to exactly what we've been talking about every single day. I appreciate you, friend. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
got it. Have a good night.
Bye.
I sent you follow.
Look, people are like, oh, spicy facts. No, I'm pissed. I'm just angry. We do this every day, and I do it because it's incredibly important to me. I can't cash the Soros checks because they're written in invisible ink.
I
Listen,
sure wish we had them.
The reality of the circumstances is this, right? There are more of us than there are of them. There are more people in this country who believe in human rights as a fundamental principle to exist. It's not a big ask to go to the polls and vote for somebody who's not a fucking fascist. It's not a big ask. The people who, again, I'm directing this at people on the left. Stop looking for perfection. Stop complaining about things not being perfect. Stop wondering, well, just the whole, U.S. policy towards Israel. We get it, okay? We get it. We get it.
It's messy, but I dang sure want her handling it way more than I want him anywhere close to the restroom at the White House.
Exactly. Stop with your fucking looking for the diamond in the rough, okay? Do what has to be done so that our daughters and our sons can have a shot to grow up in a world that was better than ours. White men liberals, what are you doing to convince other white men in your circles that are Republican to wake the fuck up and for them to realize that we created this shit? Start using your privilege for good. Start using the fact that you literally are safe no matter where you go in this world. As a white man, you are safe wherever you fucking go. Figuratively speaking. Stop. Stop. Just stop. Realize the damage that we've caused in the system that we built that is tipped towards us, and use it for good. Use your voice. Speak up for those who can't. Act for those that can't. Prioritize the things that should matter to everybody. It's us. We are the ones. People who look like me, we are the ones that are holding everybody back. I vote for Amy Dawn. I vote for my daughter. I vote for marginalized groups. Why don't you? I don't give a flying fuck what's in your wallet, and I never will. I would answer 50 questions about what's important to me before that even came up, and even then, I don't think it would. How would you like to close tonight, friend?
I don't think I need to say much more than that. We have 11 days and a wake up. And let's just get it done. I believe there's more of us than there are of them. I have to believe that. Otherwise, I'd get no sleep. And I have been around, and you have been around long enough to know that there have been elections that we didn't know how it was going to go. And then all of a sudden it went the way we needed it to, right? So we have to keep having the conversations, and we cannot let them make us weary, right? Especially those of us that are palm colored. And I'm sorry to say, I didn't mean to be too abrupt, but I don't care how many people are intimidating you. Fight that. You have to be able to fight. You have to be willing to get, like Glennon Doyle said on the White Women for Harris Zoom, we have to be willing to get our ass kicked. I'm going to go get my ass kicked. If somebody wants to go ahead, threaten me. I will take the appropriate steps to report to the authorities and make sure that is known.
Correct.
Yes, you are not going to silence me. I'm not going to let you take away my power. I will fill in the space that I deserve in this world, as everyone else should. Let's stop. We need to take over the narrative. The story that we're telling needs to be the truth. Misinformation and disinformation are the enemy. Don't spread misinformation, and you better not be spreading disinformation, because that would just be nefarious. Check yourself, check your voting, get it done. 11 days and a wake up. Don't boo. Vote.
Last call on our fundraiser. We'll be doing this all week until next Friday. A friend in our community has just been hammered with some unexpected vet bills. We all know how much we love our furry friends. In the Discord, in the special events channel, you'll find the list. A couple of items have been added, including in some audio, I'll be careful how I say this, some audio filleting from our friend Erica, specifics to be determined. Also a pink hat, from grab him by the pussy, pink hat, that kind of shit is all on the list now. You'll find the information in the Discord special events channel. Please join our Discord.
And maybe some maple syrup. One of the 1, 4, and 6. You could,
Absolutely. If that's the case, if somebody would rather trade something, that I would be happy to provide that. Considering Vermont is the maple capital of the world, fight me. Thank you all for being here, everybody. There's 30,000 people at the rally in Texas for Kamala awaiting Queen Bee to speak.
I got my
We're gonna rate our friend Cece.
Let's rate Cece.
We're gonna rate our friend Cece. Tell her we sent you. Everybody, this is real. This is real. This is not fake. This is real. We live this shit every day. If I sound hyperbolic, I don't give a fuck. Get over it. Get your ass out, make a fucking plan. You see something, say something. Don't expect somebody else to. Black women have saved our asses from ourselves every fucking election. It's time for us to return the favor. We'll tell you more about
Election Day coverage next time. You forgot to tell them about it, so we'll tell you about it Monday.
Yeah, well, a reminder. Election Day coverage starting at 8 a.m. You can find it myself, along with our friend Danny, along with our friend Dirty Dan, and along with our friend Pickles. We are covering election from morning till night, from dawn to dusk. You'll find the link. You'll find information on a video I did today. We'll be updating you every single day.
I posted a video about it even. I posted a video. I never post content.